guys, what's up? Shin0555 here with another episode of TextBox, where gamers talk about games. And today's video, I have Retro Review with me.
Hey, what's up? It's good to be here.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about Emulation. But before we jump in, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. That really helps me out. And definitely go check out Retro Review's channel. He makes great videos. So definitely go check him out. If you like my stuff, you'll definitely like his stuff. So link link to all that is down in the description below. Other than that, we're just going to be talking about Emulation. So, Mr. Review, do you emulate games any?
I do, yeah. I emulate games pretty much every day. I play through my classic library while I'm putting my kids to bed at night. So I bust out my Retroid and I jam on some old games. Nice.
I think I almost exclusively play through emulation now. And like you said, you have a Retroid. I have like a Retroid Pocket. I have an Odin. I have a bunch of like classic retro handhelds, and that is how I do like 99% of my gaming now. It's pretty much all emulation.
Oh, that's perfect. I think that was one of the first things I noticed about your channel when you like gave me the shout out when you discovered my channel and everything. I watched one of your videos and I saw like a Retroid, and then I started to notice you talk about emulation and some of your consoles that you had. I'm like, oh man, this guy's so sick. He clearly knows what's up.
He clearly has no life, but yeah, no, like the thing that got me into like emulation and is like I had a move, and during that move I had to go into like a smaller space, so I had to put all my like consoles away. So I only had like my PS4 and my Switch like with me, and I was like, God, I wish there was like a handheld or something that could emulate, maybe like from like Dreamcast on down. So then I started going down the rabbit hole of like the retro handhelds, and they like the Retroid handheld market exploded so much. Now we could get like PlayStation 2, GameCube, Wii, and Switch on like a handheld. And it's just like, once I started doing that, it's just like, I'm never going to plug in my old systems pretty much ever again. It's
it's so funny you say that, because I did like the exact same thing. I moved just a couple years ago into a smaller space, couldn't take all my stuff with me. So I'm like, man, I just need something I can play all of my classic library on, so that I don't have to worry about taking all of my consoles with me. I can just have my current generation. That's so funny to hear that.
Yeah, no, and it like blows my mind now with like these retro handhelds and how good they are. Because I remember being a kid and like thinking like, oh, sometime in the future I'm gonna have all of my games on one little device, and I never really thought that was gonna be a thing. Because I knew like Nintendo was separate, and like so they're different companies, never gonna make like a all-in-one device. But it's like, no, just wait 30 years and then all the games you want to play are in your hand.
It's so sick. It's kind of crazy that we have the technology to cram all this stuff onto like tiny little devices. My brother does a lot of emulation as well, and he has like a few dedicated handhelds that have, you know, tens of thousands of games on them, and it's just insane to see every time I visit him.
Yeah, no, I usually, like, even though I have like probably 1,000 games on like my Odin 2 Mini, I pretty much still play like the same 5. But it's just nice to have all my library with me.
Nice to have the option to do whatever you want at any time.
You know, like, I never know when it's like, God, I need to fucking play Glover, like, right now.
Glover, what a deep cut. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, no, I fucking love that game, dude.
That game rocks. Oh, man. I remember playing that at my buddy's house for the very first time, and I like sold him down the river, traded another crappy game on my 64 I had a second copy of, and I got Glover for basically nothing.
No, that's like just a game that just makes me happy. It's so weird. It's so old, and it makes me feel like it's just a game of like that time. Like Glover wouldn't be made now. It's too weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's kind of like the greatest thing about emulation is like it still gives us access to all of these classic titles. Like,
For sure.
yeah.
I mean, it's like impossible to track down copies of all of these games nowadays, or if you can, it's going to be super expensive too.
Yeah, no, it's honestly ridiculous, and it's just like I know some people don't like emulation, and it's just. But even like with like remasters and like remakes, they're not the same games. Like even if they're very
for
close,
sure,
they're not exactly the same.
Well, and occasionally you get the remaster that ends up being worse than the original, like the Silent Hill remasters. I haven't played them, but I've heard so much negativity about them, and it's like I want to play the originals, but I've just got this. This is the only option right now outside of emulation. So like the option I'm given just kind of sucks. I'm not paying for that.
Yeah, no. And it's just like even like remasters, they're still like subject to like change. Like I don't know if you heard of the Tomb Raider remaster that recently came out. There's like Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. And
yes, yeah.
Yeah. But there was like a big thing where I think it was in Tomb Raider 3, you can go in like a locker room and they had like these pinups of Lara Croft, which were in the original game, and they were in the original release of the remaster. But then after an update, they took them out. So, yeah, if you were playing the game, you and like before the update, the posters were there, but then I guess someone got offended by them, or they thought like, oh, this is a bad look. So they went in with an update, and then they took it out. And it's just like, you can't do that.
Oh man, that's such a scary precedent. Like if you have all these new remastered versions and they just decide on a whim to take something out or change something, they can. That's a scary idea.
Yeah, can you imagine they remade like Conker's Bad Fur Day and they were like, know what, that flower, we can't have that. That's too bad. We're just gonna cut that out of the game. Like,
I would be so pissed. I would be beyond pissed if they did some bullcrap like that.
I would be like super pissed if they did it where it was like in the initial release and people were like, ooh, people aren't liking the sunflower. Let's update that out of there.
Oh man, that's.
Yeah, so like that.
I agree. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, it's like stupid. It's scary, and it's just like that's why I think like emulation is so important, because it saves and preserves like the original content of the game. Like the way it was like first made. And it's just like, yeah, we like, and there's so many games out there that are never going to be remade again due to like licensing reasons. Like we are never going to have a remake of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's just
and Spider-Man 2 is awesome. Like that game slaps.
Oh, I fucking love that game, dude. Oh. That
was easily the best Spider-Man game until the Insomniac's Spider-Man came out and
kind of
blew us all away.
Yeah, it was like it was definitely like the next generational step from Spider-Man 2. It's like they looked at Spider-Man 2 and were like, okay, let's make a more updated Spider-Man 2 game. But again, it's just like that game's amazing, and the only way to play it now is if you have like a PlayStation or a GameCube. That still works.
Yeah, for sure.
That's ridiculous. That game's amazing.
A lot of those classics are like I think we talked about it earlier too. Like a lot of those classics are now like cult classics, and people don't just have their copies lying around, or they've failed over time. Their hardware's failed, and so now trying to find any kind of used copy is just ridiculous. And if it's a game you really love, like from your childhood, or it's just been discontinued, it's just so hard to find, and that just blows, man. And it sucks that we don't just have ready access. I guess we do. We do have ready access to ROMs and stuff, but we should just have some kind of like archive. We have it for all sorts of other media. I don't understand why we don't have a gaming archive for all these games that are just going to be lost to the wayside.
Yeah, and it definitely for like gaming, because like I get like super old movies that are made on like film and things like that, but like gaming is a strictly digital medium. we can store
Mhm.
every single version of every single game ever. It would take up a lot of space, like digital space, but like there's no like physical, like physicality to it. And it's just like,
Right. Yeah.
I would definitely want like some sort of like public library, or give it for like public libraries. Have them have like ROM dumps in like libraries.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a genius idea. Then everyone can experience these old games. They're publicly available. We don't have to worry about just going out and pirating everything. You can just, yeah, go and get your own copy there and go experience it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, like just something like that, or like, and you brought up like pirating, because like anytime you talk about emulation, there's always people that like jump in being like, that's pirating, it's wrong, it's like stealing, blah blah, and it's like, it's technically not steal. Like, if it was theft, they'd call it theft, but it's called piracy for a reason, because it's just out there and you can get it. And it's just.
Well, and I think there's a case to be made. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going over that thought. You saved me.
I think there's a case to be made for ethical piracy in this case, because all these games, I remember reading the study about how like 87% of all video game media ever is like at risk of being lost to time and just disappearing into the ether. And if we preserve those and put them on file sharing sites so everyone can have access to them, then they won't disappear. And if it's not in current circulation, I think there should not be any reason we can't have access to those games. Like, I understand why people get in a tizzy about like emulating brand new consoles, like the Switch emulator and everything. I can understand why people will get upset about that, because there is the possibility of pirating stuff that is out there right now. But everything back forever ago in these previous generations, no one's selling those games anymore except in the used market. I don't see any problem with getting those from a file sharing site, because it's not costing anybody money. It's just they're just out there. Like,
yeah, it's like you can't even give the people that made the game money, because it's just secondhand at that point. It's they're done, and it's just like, because I think like the way, and especially. And again, it's just like a lot of like these like laws and stuff, they never go to court, and they never go to court for a reason, because they don't want to set like the precedent. It's like that's what happened with like Yuzu. Nintendo threatened to sue them, and they were just like, we're gonna fight you, and it's like, but if we lose, emulation's dead, so we're not even gonna try it. Yeah, so they were just like,
that's so unfortunate with that.
Yeah, but it's just like the analogy I like to use is like, I live in like a beach town, and there's a rule that you're not allowed, like legally, you're not allowed to have alcohol on the beach. No one follows that rule at all. But that rule, but they put that law in to give cops a reason. So if like stuff, like you're at the beach and something's getting rowdy, people are fighting, or people are doing something weird, and the cops need to get in, they could just say, we saw alcohol on the beach, and they use that as a way to like stop something like bad from happening. So like that's why that law's in there. And it's like, I think ROM should be the same way, where it's like, okay, if you want to make like ROMs or file sharing sites like illegal, make it illegal, but have like jurisdiction in how you enforce it.
Yeah, okay. I see the path here. I like it.
Yeah, so it's just like, because like it's insane that like Nintendo went after like Yuzu like that, but if you go on like Amazon, you can buy like a DS cartridge that has like 5,000 game ROMs on it from like a Chinese site, like seller, and it's just like, you're not going after them.
Yeah, that always baffled me. I don't understand how they don't go after the cartridges, or the whole like little crappy emulator machines that have thousands of Nintendo games on them that you can see in the promotional images, and you're like,
yeah,
what are you doing? Like, it's easy pickings there.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, but it's like, no, we're gonna go after like just all ROM, like easy access like ROM sites, so no one could have them except like the shady Chinese businesses that download them anyway.
Yeah, that's bizarre. So now we can't get them for free, and now we have to pay somebody, some shady business guy that is now getting money that's still not going to Nintendo. Like,
yeah,
it's so stupid.
Yeah, no, and it's just like, and especially like I was really upset when they took out Yuzu because like Switch emulation was like exploding there for a minute. Like they just got like the emulator working for like one game, and then like it was like each week they were making strides in like getting more games working, getting more at like 60 frames per second. It was insane how big that was like blowing up. And it was like,
yeah.
And like if I was Nintendo and I like saw that, I would have like my legal team like go to them and be like, listen, we're either going to give you like a cease and desist, or we're going to allow you to keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to have like oversight on this. And then because like what I would think would be more beneficial to Nintendo is like let these people do what they're doing. They're super smart. They're making this great emulator. So when you make the Switch 2 or the Switch 3 and you want to do a virtual console, you have theirs. And if you're doing
absolutely.
And if you have like the oversight for it, where they are working with you and you can tell them what to do, you can do things where you can go to them and just be like, listen, Metroid Prime 4 coming out on Switch, we want that game not to be playable on Yuzu for at least a year. And then they could do that. They could have the emulator detect that, oh, you're playing Metroid Prime 4 on this, and have it not work.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, but instead they just gave them what?
Oh, no, good.
But they just gave a cease and desist and completely killed that and the 3DS emulator by like association.
I think that was kind of the biggest downfall there, because we still have some Switch emulators, so that's good. Like hopefully that will persist and the copies of the Yuzu emulator will keep floating around for a while. But having the 3DS emulator die by the wayside as well kind of sucks, because that's another piece of tech that we really need to preserve because it's so wacky and weird. The fact that they have it running and working and everything, that's a shame we had to lose that one in the aftermath.
Yeah, no, and again, it like happened like right before they shut down the eShop too. So literally, thousands of games are gone.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that pisses me off with any of these big companies. Like I cannot imagine it costs that much money to keep these shops up, especially with low activity, and like I just cannot see a world where these multi-billion-dollar corporations can't afford to keep these sites up so that we can still buy and download games from their shop several years in the future. Like everything has a time limit now. We know that these shops are gonna shut down in just a short period of time, and once they're gone, I can't get anything. Everything I've downloaded, I'm good, and then that's it.
Yeah, no, and it's just like. And it's like there's like a bunch of legal problems with that too, because like when I buy games digitally, it says I buy them. So like with the PlayStation 3 shutting down, it's like they shut down the store on the PSP, but they kept I think it's still up, the PS3 store and the Vita store. And it's like you have to I
believe they still are.
Yeah, and it's like you have to keep those my download list. So if I want to go back on my PS3 and download, I don't know, the Sonic Generations demo, I should still be able to download that, because I like legally like got that.
Yeah, that's the biggest slippery slope for me. I know we're seeing it with Ubisoft and how they're like approaching ownership of games digitally, and how they really don't want you owning the games. You're just kind of borrowing a license to them. And I'm like, man, if they start taking away shops and they just say you agreed to this when you did like the terms and services and everything, you said that you agreed to our conditions, and one of those conditions is we can shut down this at any time, and if it does, well, that's your game license you paid for now is no longer valid, and unless you've downloaded it to your console, and then if your hardware fails, sucks to be you, man. Like
yeah. And a lot of these games, they run on, like, servers, too. So even if you did have a working copy, if they don't, like, have a server running for it, it just won't work.
Right.
So it's just like, fuck. I hate where gaming is going. Like, I really do. This whole, like, digital, oh, you don't really own anything, and isn't it great? It's like, no, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some stirrings that the PlayStation 5 Pro is only digital. And when stuff goes only digital, like, I'm done. I'm not buying it. You can shove it. I've got a gigantic catalog that I can go through for the rest of my life and be completely fine. I'm not messing with only digital media. I like my physical collection, and you can piss right off. I'm not subscribing to that.
Yeah, no, like, again, that's like, it makes me sad because, like, I go to, like, game stores like GameStop, Walmart. There's hardly, like, any video games in there. You have, like, a row of, like, PlayStation 5 games in, like, a corner, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, everyone's buying them digitally, so it doesn't matter. It's like, no, it does matter. It matters a lot.
Yeah. As kind of, like, not as cool as I've heard, like, limited run games not being the best company ever, it's cool to see sites like that dedicated to preserving some of the games, especially ones that never would have gotten a physical release otherwise. I love seeing places like that say, no, we're going to put out at least some physical copies so that people have the option if they really want to. And I'm all about that. I try and get as many physical as I can, and I get stuff digital if I absolutely have to, but I'm a physical guy myself.
Yeah, no, me too, definitely. It just feels like, I don't know if this is, like, psychological, but I feel I get more out of a game if I have a physical copy of it. Like... Oh,
I 100% agree.
Yeah, because, like, I remember I got, what was it called? Just Cause 2, and I downloaded that game. I think it was one of the first games I ever, like, got digitally, and I downloaded it, and I played, like, very little of it until I bought it physically, and then I actually beat it. And it was just like, not having it physically made me like, it's like I don't really have it. It's like it's not here.
Well, I forget about my digital stuff. Like, if I'm on my Switch and I'm looking around, I forget that I have games digitally just downloaded onto my console. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that I have Okami HD on my Switch. Like, I never finished that one. I need to go back and play through that. That's crazy. And I think what you're saying, for sure, for me at least, it, like, carries more weight when I have the physical copy. It takes more time. Like, I have to get it out of its case and put it into the thing. I'm, like, very intentionally choosing to play that game. So for me, it's just like, I'm ready. I'm dedicated. I'm going to play this thing, and I can actually see it there, so I can see it gathering dust if I'm not playing.
That's definitely true. And no, but I'm actually getting really bad with, like, my backlog. It's insane. I have, like, 20 Switch games that have the, like, plastic still on them. It's just like, oh god,
that's awesome.
It's just, I always joke, it's like, I need to, like, break my legs or something. Like, break my legs, like, saving, like, a bus filled with children, or so, like, something honorable, just to, like me to, like, dedicate time to, like, playing games where I don't feel bad.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh man, yeah, it's tough to find the time. I've been trying to, like, zero in on my backlog, my current generation backlog. I'm like, I will not buy a new game until I finish this one. I, like, set, like, a limit on myself. I'm like, I have Baldur's Gate 3 now. I can't be buying another big RPG, so hold off. You can finish this first.
Yeah, no, that's another one of my problems. Like, I'll play like I really want to play like 70-hour like RPG games because I love them, but I don't have 70 hours to like sit down and play them. So it's just like
Right.
So it's like this game is literally gonna take me 6 months to beat. Like, god damn it.
Yeah, one RPG, or do I get like 3 15-hour games? Yeah, the struggle is real.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's just like, oh, and emulation does not help that at all.
No.
And it's just like I've never finished like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and like I really want to play that one, but then they have a like modded ROM hack of the game where it's like Thousand Year Door Plus, but it's like I don't even know if I want to play that because like if I play the Plus version, I won't know what's Plus.
Right.
It'd just be like I wouldn't appreciate it as much as because I haven't played the original, so I won't be impressed by like, oh, this has changed. This is much better now.
Yeah, you won't know the quality of life improvements and all that.
Yeah, but that's another great thing about emulation is like ROM hacks, custom-made games, like mods and stuff. Like it's just like you can only play them through an emulator.
Well, I think the ROM hack community too is a really special corner. Like especially on like YouTube, you have like the Pokemon Nuzlocke. That's a hugely popular thing, and like you said, you won't have that without emulation. And I think ROM hacks are some of the coolest things ever because it shows off people's creativity and ingenuity to create their own version of an existing game, or sometimes like overhaul it entirely and do something brand new. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's like I honestly think it's like magic, because like I do like a little bit of like 3D work. I know like the art aspect side of like making games, 3D models and stuff like that. I have no idea what the fuck programming is, dude. And like,
oh man,
you can literally like sit me down and just be like, no, I put my wizard hat on and I get like I write like a scroll and I'll be like, oh, of course, that's how it's fucking done.
I went to school. I was in the business program, and I decided to do business analytics for a minute. And I was like, sweet, programming side of business, that sounds really cool and interesting. I took a couple classes, and after I finished that semester, I said, absolutely not, and I switched my major immediately.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just like I've learned RPG Maker, like how to make a game out of that, but again, that's like a children's coloring book version of like game programming. And it's like my monkey brain can understand that because I got a lot of like little menus and they say what it is and I get that. I don't get the black screen of like text that you look at and it's like it means stuff.
Oh yeah, it's so ridiculous. I can like very poorly read like coding line, but there's no way you could get me to sit down and write even the most basic line of code. I'd be like, nah, like we tried that in one of my programming classes, like designing Brick Breaker, and I couldn't do it. I did not get a working model. It kept bouncing like right through my paddle. Like I could not figure out collision. Like no, I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm done. That's never happening.
You know, it's like, and it gives you like appreciation for fucking like Brick Break. It's just like, this game is so fucking complex.
Yes. How did anybody ever think of this? Yeah, it's crazy how complex something as simple as that game is. So designing anything is a masterpiece. Like I'm so impressed with people.
Yeah, no, it's insane. What like blew my mind? Have you ever seen someone reprogram Super Mario World?
No.
Literally, there is a way, I don't know how they figured this out, but it's like, they start playing the game, and it's like on level 1, and it's like, they jump on like a shell, then they pick it up, then they like, jump on Yoshi, eat a thing, and they're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and they make the game snakes. Like, it just turns into snakes.
I haven't seen that. That's crazy.
Like, I was like, this is magic. What the fuck?
That's so insane. I'm gonna have to go look that up. That sounds absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, they found some way to like program the game's values by playing the game, and it was insane. That is up there with like a Final Fantasy 12 speed run.
I love speedruns.
Have you ever seen the Final Fantasy 12
I haven't seen
speed
Final
run?
Fantasy 12.
Oh yeah?
No.
Oh.
Is it insane?
It's fucking insane. There's like, it's like you start the beginning of the game and you need to cast like Cure on yourself like 3 times, but you need to get 3 specific numbers. And then like, it goes on, and then eventually it's like you get to a place and you have to count how many times this NPC like goes up the stairs, and then like do a whole bunch of other random shit. Then you open like an invisible treasure chest that appears somewhere, and it's just like, how the fuck did you figure any of this out?
Yeah, I don't understand how people do that. They have to just be like messing with stuff or looking at the code and figuring. I cannot. It's batshit crazy to think that somebody took the time to cast Cure on themselves, watch an NPC go up and down stairs. That's next level, like, insane to me. I don't understand how anybody has the time to even think about doing that.
Yeah, no, it's insane. But again, that is all great things that you can get through fucking emulation. And
yes.
Yeah. And yeah, no, and like this whole like war that, and honestly it's really like Nintendo. I don't know what's getting into Nintendo, because they're going really hard against emulation, and they're going hard against like everything. Like I heard they've taken down like people that are posting like sheet music of like remixes of like Nintendo songs.
Really?
Yeah, like just insane shit. And it's just like, why are you... I don't get why they would do that. And it's like, I heard I think it was like, I don't think it was Internet Archive. I know Nintendo hates Internet Archive, and they're like legally trying to like get rid of it, but they're like, but Internet Archive's like protected by some like law or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was like a site recently that had like all the copies of like Nintendo Power, and you could just like go through them like digitally. They took that down, and it's just like, why?
That's tragic.
Yeah, it's like, why? You don't sell Nintendo Power. It's not on like your subscription service, which would be a cool addition. Like put like, oh, here's every issue of Nintendo Power.
That would be sick. My brother-in-law sent me a picture the other day. He got some of his old boxes of stuff out, and he sends me a picture of the first 67 issues of Nintendo Power. And I'm like,
cool.
That is a treasure trove of content right there. That's insane that you have those just sitting in your house now. And yeah, if he like, that's the only way to access it at the moment, I guess.
Yeah.
If they took down the scanned copies.
Yeah, and it's just like, and it just blows my mind that it's like you're going so hard and aggressive about this with no plan of like, it would be one thing if Nintendo was like, listen, we have this thing in the works, we're gonna put every one of our goddamn games on a service where you could get the ROMs, and we're gonna put the Nintendo Power on there, we're gonna have our Nintendo, but it's like they don't, and it's just like, why are you so aggressive against this then?
Yeah, I can understand if they want their mainline stuff, like all the stuff they have on Nintendo Switch Online, you know, get Super Mario World off there, Donkey Kong Country, whatever. I can understand those, but there are literal thousands of other games that they'll never care about or touch or do anything with ever again. And yeah, shutting down sites and getting rid of those things, or getting rid of freaking Nintendo Power, that benefits nobody. Absolutely nobody.
Yeah, no, it's just like, why are you trying to burn down your history? This is only gonna get people to like you more if you keep it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think Nintendo's, if Nintendo didn't make like some of the best games, I would absolutely be on the train with you of like not supporting Nintendo at all. But between their game making prowess, and I do have to point to their, like, I always remember when the CEO of Nintendo cut his salary when the Wii U was a major flop and kept all of his employees. Like that's one of those things where I'm like, no other company would ever do that. So I'm like, I gotta do the give and take here. But man, I get absolutely steamed when thinking about emulation. When I like, one of my most viewed videos on my channel talks about emulation, Nintendo killing emulators and killing emulation sites, and it's just depressing to see.
Yeah, no, and it's like one thing, and it's again, I agree with you. I love Nintendo games, and I love the fact that like Nintendo still comes at it at the mindset. It's like they're still in like the mindset of like the 6th generation, where it's just like anytime they release a game, it's pretty much all on the disc. Pretty much they might get like an update or two or whatever, or and eventually like add DLC and stuff like that, but it's pretty much working day one when you get it. They believe in like strong like single player content. They're not trying to make like big community games where it's like these games aren't fun if you don't have people to play it. They're like, I really love the way Nintendo makes games and like their mindset towards it and all that stuff. But again, it's just like, why do you want to burn down your history so badly?
Yeah, especially when it's so illustrious and wonderful. Like, people love the old Nintendo games. They want to experience them because they were so good. Like, just let us play them, man.
Yeah, no, and again, it's just like, I think like a big reason, well, besides the move, that got me playing like these retro handhelds, is I probably wouldn't have got them if like the PlayStation 5 was completely backwards compatible with all other like PlayStations, which is something they could do.
Yes.
Because it's not like Nintendo where they went from like cartridges to like tiny discs to DVDs to new cartridges where you need like a whole bunch of things to play them. It's like all of Sony's things are on like either CDs, DVDs, or Blu-rays. And it's just like, you could have your PlayStation 5 be completely backwards compatible, and if you did that, I probably would not have ever wanted to get into emulation.
Well, and that's a crazy thing about Microsoft. They have made such a big effort to preserve most of their library for backward compatibility. I think you can play pretty much the majority of the 360 and the original Xbox on the Xbox One and now the Xbox Series X. They've just made it like such a big deal to do that. And as much as I hate the direction going toward cloud streaming and digital, it's really cool to see that. Like when I got my Xbox One, yeah, I can plug in old 360 games and original Xbox games, and I can just play them. They just work, and that's amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely. People probably get mad at me about saying this, but it's just like, why is like the company with like the least good exclusives the one preserving them all?
Oh yeah, no, easily. Microsoft easily has the smallest library. I was the biggest Microsoft hater for the longest time. I am just coming around the corner the last couple of years being like, everyone enjoy your games on whatever console you play. I'm not gonna hate on you for that. I was like, junior high me was like, PlayStation 3, 360 sucks. Don't ever buy one. I will debate you all day. I was that guy. Oh man, I was annoying.
Yeah, no, I still have not gotten like into Xbox at all, but Xbox really just makes games like, I hate like first-person shooters and like, so it's just like that's a huge library of like Xbox games. So it's just like, yeah,
right.
Like if you continued the Blinks the Cat series, Voodoo Vince, I'd give you a chance. I'd give them a chance. But
yeah, my biggest thing is killing off all their properties that they buy. They buy them, then squander them, and I mean, Banjo Nuts and Bolts like was the end of Rare. Like that was a killer for me for the longest time. And now that I have the Rare replay and I can play some of those things, like I'm like, okay, I'll get a couple games, but you can't get me to buy more than that.
Yeah. Well, like, I got mad at Xbox when they first came out, because they came out, like, in the 6th generation of the first Xbox, and it was like, I think they made a deal with Sega to get all of their, like, IPs, because, like, Sega went down, the Dreamcast, they went third party, and I think Microsoft bought the license to, like, Jet Set Radio, Sega Bass Fishing, Space Channel 5, like, Jet Set Radio, And it's like they were like, okay, we're gonna use them, and they didn't really sell all that great on Xbox. And Microsoft's like decision was just like, okay, we're just gonna hang on to these licenses for like the 10 years we have it and not do anything with all these amazing Sega games.
Yep, it's stupid. It's bullshit. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's just like
terrible practice.
Like, you have so much potential money here. What the fuck? Do you just not want money?
Yeah. Well, and Jet Set Radio Future, Jet Set Radio is one of my favorite video games ever. I love that game. I mean, that's why I was so excited about Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Jet Set Radio Future rocks, but you can only play it on the original Xbox. It's nowhere else. It's so stupid.
And it's so much better than Jet Set Radio. It I love playing Jet Set. Don't get me wrong, but you have a fucking time limit on every level, and I hate it. I hate it. And it's like the biggest thing that like Jet Set Radio Future was like, now you can just play the game the way you want it.
Right. Like, yes, absolutely.
It's just like, fuck.
I will say I'm super excited with Sega announcing, I think it was like a year ago, that a bunch of their franchises are coming back, like Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio. They showed like a teaser. I'm like, oh yes, please bring them back, because I'm yearning for that era. The Dreamcast is one of my favorite consoles. I still like play a ton of games on that, you know, emulating them, of course, because I don't even know if I have a Dreamcast. I think it's still my brother's. But yeah, I yearn for that era of games because they were so good.
Yeah, and it's just like, I feel like we need that era of games back, because like I went to art school for a year after I finished high school, and I went specifically for like game art and design. So I was going for like actual doing art for video games. And
sweet.
Yeah, but like one thing that scared me when I went to like the art school is because like I'm working with people that are all working in the industry like right now, and what scared me was how many people did not play good video games. Like there was like me and maybe like 3 other kids in all of game art that I would consider like maybe like you and me. The rest of the people, they haven't played Mario 64. They never played Ocarina of Time. They never played Crash or Spyro. And it's just like, and that was the majority of them. And it makes me think that it's just like, there's an entire generation of people playing games, getting in, and it's just like, they haven't played anything good. Like, and then I wonder, is this one of the reasons why like gaming is declining, in like my opinion? Because just like, they don't know what like Jet Set Radio is. They don't know what, I don't know, the Grinch. Like, you need to play these games to understand what makes a good video game. Like, yeah,
I had a buddy that his like introduction to gaming was the 360 era, and he didn't play a whole ton, and then it was the Xbox One that got him back in. And I'm like, man, you need to play all these old games that your wife has played. Like, she has all these games sitting around. Why haven't you played them? He's like, oh, they're too old. I'm like, what do you mean they're too old? They're evergreen. Go back and play them. You're playing Star Wars Battlefront on the Xbox One, man. Like, you're missing out.
Yeah. And it's just like, and again, I think that might be like a really big reason why like modern games are bad, is because like especially with like platformers, it's like they're probably being made by a bunch of generations of like people that have never played like a really good platformer.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That's a that's a scary notion. I mean, it's probably why we have so many live service games, why platformers aren't really relevant all that much anymore. We've got a couple as of late, but yeah, they probably just haven't played them. So like, why play these? People didn't like them back in the day. It's like, well, we did. You just stopped making them. You started making gritty shooters all the time.
Yeah, no, and again, it's just like, this is why emulation's vital. Because like, truly, if you are working on games in any capacity, like art, programming, doing music, I would want you to have at least played like Ocarina of Time or Mario 64,
For sure.
or like Sunshine, or it's like being like making a movie and you've never seen like The Godfather or like Spider-Man 2 or like just phenomenal movies. It's just like, why are you? It scares me.
Yeah, if you're basing all your gaming knowledge on Minecraft and Fortnite and Call of Duty and like, I do not think you have what it takes to make a good video game.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And it's just like, and again, it's just like, if we don't have emulation, there is no hope of like people being able to get a chance to play these great games that should be in like the foundation of like every, like, once Mario 64 figured out like movement, there is no reason any video game should have bad movement anymore.
Oh, for real.
Yeah, like, you should be able to play a game, even like a game tester, and just be like, this feels really bad, this isn't good. But it's like, if you never played a platformer before, it's just like, well, I guess this works.
I can't remember what game it was, but recently I was playing through a modern game. It wasn't a platformer, but it had platforming. And I remember thinking, man, every time I have to do platforming, it feels atrocious. Like, can you not design the character to jump like an actual person? Like, it looks like an action figure that I'm picking up and putting back down. It looks ridiculous. It's always bizarre to me that can't get that right somehow.
Yeah, like no, it's just like, again, I think that's a big problem. I think we should force, like, communist government force people to play good games. I'd be down for that.
That'd be so sick. I'm down for that too. Let's start a petition.
Like, listen, if you're gonna start taking down Twitter, we're gonna start doing like a bunch of communism. Let's at least try to do something good with it. I'm sure it'll work this time. Like,
well, it's a good thing we've got our channels. Like, we're a very small portion of YouTube, but we're preaching the gospel of emulation. We're getting it out there. Like, go check out these old games. They're worth your time still. The new games are great too, don't get us wrong, but like, there's so much good in the backlog that you can just go and experience right now, and you should.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're doing God's work. Like, I think you and I both agree.
Absolutely.
Like,
that's right, absolutely.
But we talked a lot about like, is there any like point of emulation that you wanted to talk about?
I think we touched on the stuff that I had in my brain. I'm glad to see that we're getting stuff that's more complicated, like the PlayStation 3 emulation working. I know that's been like something really difficult. I've been watching Mutahar and Some Ordinary Gamers talk about them finally getting stuff like that working. I'm glad they're preserving games like Bloodborne that's only on the PlayStation 4. I'm glad they're getting games like that are, again, vital pieces of gaming history. And it's nice to see we're making progress into like the closer back generations, the 7th and 8th now, I guess. But I'm happy to see that we're making progress there, because I know that's a harder one to emulate.
Yeah, no, I remember like the PS3 had such like complex like architecture or something that I was just like, why the fuck would you ever do that? Like, you're making video games.
Yeah. What a stupid decision. I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons they haven't done backward compatibility since, because it was so complex. And it was, I think that, like, my brother-in-law has an original PlayStation 3 model that is backward compatible with PlayStation 2, but I think the components in that were so expensive, and that's why it was cheaper for the slim models, but then they didn't have backward compatibility. So I don't know what they were thinking. I think that was a crazy, stupid decision, because imagine if we just had backward compatibility just this entire time on the Sony library. That would be out of this world and amazing.
Yeah, and again, it's just like they don't move from like cartridge to disc like Nintendo did. So it's like you literally could just have like an emulator on the PlayStation 5 that could just play all these like physical games. Like I would have bought the PS5 day one, and I would have at least 300 games to play on it on the first day.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, maybe not that many.
Yeah, I came into like the buying PlayStation with the PlayStation 3, and yeah, I'd still have an insane library between my PS3 and my PS4. Like the PS3, in my opinion, that generation was probably one of the best we've ever seen. We got like the Uncharted trilogy was on there. You had the Gears of War trilogy on Xbox 360. The Halo games were like Halo 3 was one of the most monumental games ever. We got The Last of Us. Like that was an insane library. Not even talking about the Wii with all of its amazing games too. Like I really cherish that generation.
Yeah, it was really good. I still prefer like the PlayStation 2 over the PS3.
Yes.
But like, no, they were both sides, because like I didn't appreciate the PlayStation 3 when I had it, when it was going on. I was still looking fondly back at like, I wish there was a fucking Ape Escape game on this system. I wish there was Jack 4 on this system.
Oh, Jack 4. Oh,
like,
Jack. I miss the Jack series so much.
Me too. Like, I'll even go on record. I don't care who I offend. Naughty Dog's best story in a game is the fucking Jack and Daxter games. People are like, no, it's The Last of Us. It's like, no, The Last of Us doesn't have a fucking time portal that you got at the end of the first game. Like, I was crying when Jack's dad died. Like, that shit was real. Oh yeah.
That, you're right. That era was also, I think between the PlayStation 2 era and the PS3 one, I think we did get some of like the best video gaming had to offer. I think I still probably have the most games on my GameCube. Like I just have this enormous box full of them. I just had so many good times with that console. And then the PS3, I have a huge library too. I think those two were my biggest, like, I experienced the most gaming on those two generations. Probably the most pivotal time of my gaming career, as it were, to bring me to where I am now.
It brought you to a good place, though.
That's right. But, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I know I have like a huge like collection of games like behind me, like in like my videos and things like that, and people are like, "Oh man, you're a collector," and it's just like, not really, because like I don't really like go out and avidly collect. I've been playing video games like my entire life, and I just have never sold a video game I had. So it's just like I just like kept them and hoard them, and I sleep on them like a dragon.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's just like, wow, you must be a collector. It's like, no, this is just my life growing up.
Yeah, this is just what I collected. Like, I just bought these and played them, and now they're still here.
Yeah, no, like all of my games are pretty much like first. Oh, there's no second hand. This is my first hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. I have sold a couple of games when I think I got a couple with my PlayStation 3 when I bought them that I was never gonna play, and I'm like, sure, I'll get rid of these. But I hold on to things with very, very tight clutches. I struggle getting rid of the stuff because I love it. I don't want to get rid of it. I want to have it forever.
Yeah, no, I remember there was one time my sister's husband, he had some nephew or whatever somewhere, and he just got a PlayStation 2, and he asked if I could like give him some of my games, and like, oh, don't worry, we'll give you some money. So I was like, I gave him like Budokai 1 and like,
oh, Budokai 1,
because I had Budokai 2, and I was like, I'm not playing Budokai 1 anymore. And I was just like, and I think I gave him like Atlantis, the Lost Emperor or Empire on PlayStation 1, and I might have given him Glover. I don't know why I fucking did that.
You're a better man than me. I no way. I'd be like, no, man,
Yeah.
buy them yourself.
And I did that one time. I never got the money for it. And I was like, at that
Oh,
point, I was
no.
like, I am never, ever giving up anything ever again.
Oh man, Budokai 1 was my first T-rated video game I ever had. That was
Oh.
that's like a pivotal memory you just unlocked for me.
I remember being so fucking mad fighting Android 19 when you're Goku and you have the heart virus. And your
Oh
health
yes.
just kept going down. I could not do that for the life of me. I got so mad.
That might have been one of the hardest fights in the. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember thinking like, there's no way this is possible. Your health is not big enough, and it's going down, and he's too strong. I can't beat him.
Well, it's like you couldn't get hit, cause like your health's going down, so like any damage he does to you is just devastating. And it's one of those fights where it's like you can like see before it's over that you're not winning this round.
Right.
And it's just like, I remember getting so mad at that.
Do you remember like the crazy what if scenarios where like Krillin jumps in front of 18?
I remember
Cell Krillin.
Yeah. I was there for Cell Krillin. And like
that was
Hercule
the
had a
funniest thing ever.
Yeah. That was so cool. They made a model for it too. That was awesome.
People need to play classic games so they can have experiences like this.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And again, it's just like, that was back at the time where it's just like you played a video game and it was just good. It made you happy, or just fucking screaming your eyes out.
Yes.
My copy of Jak 2 actually has teeth marks in it, like the box, because of that one mission where you have to keep those guys alive in the sewer. I could not do that as a kid. I got so mad. I bit the game. I bit the game case. Oh.
Oh, you have me cackling. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Did you not?
That is so funny and so relatable.
I was just like, I'm never getting.
So good.
I'm never getting rid of my Jak 2 copy.
I would like, I have crazy strong hands, I always have, and so I would squeeze my controllers, and I almost got to the point where I could feel it breaking, and I'm like, oh, I can't ever do that again.
Wow, I would think I would be a superhero. See, like, I can't have that straight up because I'd be like, oh my god, this is it.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, those are so good. And again, the only way to relive those things is through emulation.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, ethical piracy.
Yes.
Go experience some old stuff. Do it.
Go fucking fight Android 19 with your health low.
Oh man, you will lose years of your life doing that fight, and it'll be worth it.
Yeah. No, and then you'll win. And then it's just like, why was that so fucking hard? There's like been so many times like when I play games where I do something that's like super hard, and the rest of the game is like not that hard, and I just like look back like, what the fuck what was that one part? Oh. Android 19 was one of them. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, yeah, no, good times. And again, it's just like stuff like that, and it's just like, I know you have kids, and I don't have kids yet, but I definitely want my kids to bite their copies of Jak 2 and scream and throw their controller, because it's just something that you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like what my whole philosophy with playing games now that I have kids, like if I play games with them, I feel like I'm using my time better, and we get that bonding time, and now they get to experience this stuff. I played through the entire Crash trilogy with them. My daughter absolutely loves Crash. She asked for a Cortex plushie for Christmas one year because we had been playing Crash, and I got it. She has this creepy Cortex plushie, and she loves it. And yeah, it's introducing them to the classics is absolutely essential. Or otherwise, they'll just know flipping Minecraft, and that's all that's all they'll know about gaming.
Well, it's like my like baby niece, she's like 6 now, but like a few years ago I got her playing the Spyro trilogy, and she just fell in love with the Spyro. And it's just like I can tell because like I played it with her at first, and she was like struggling. It was like a 3D game, like just struggling to figure it out. And it's just like then she went like home, and it was like a couple months later, and then she came back, and then she was like really good at Spyro. And like she knew like the secrets, she knew like a bunch of like just a bunch of stuff about the game, and it's like it made me happy. It's just like, oh, I know you're playing a good game, because like when I was little, I was playing Spyro like that, and it's just like yeah.
Oh, that's how we learned too. Like we played these really hard games back in the day, and we figured it out, and we became gamers there. Like the trial by fire. That's how you do it.
Yeah, no, and especially like back then, it's just like because like I'm dyslexic, and it took me like a really long time to read. But I think playing games on like the PlayStation 1 and like Nintendo 64 level, where there's like a lot of reading, but you could play the game and like use the context in the game to figure out what's going on and how to do stuff. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not like just super dumb, is because I did spend time like trial and error, like jumping on walls, figuring stuff out. And even today it's just like I'll even give stuff a try, because there's a lot of people today that I realize that just like if they don't get it immediately, they just immediately give up. And it's just like I'm willing to like fuck around with it a little bit, and I think I developed that skill playing games.
That's really sick.
Yeah, I didn't beat many of them because you need to read for a lot of I like no, that's not completely true. I was gonna say to this day I never beat a Pokemon game, but I did beat Pokemon Coliseum.
Man.
But it's just like
oh nice. Yeah,
because like all my friends played Pokemon growing up. I tried to play Pokemon, but like having such a hard time reading, I couldn't I didn't know what to do all of the time. So I had like a level 100 like Charizard and like no other Pokemon. And like like why is this game so hard? Fuck.
Yeah, I can imagine. That game's ambiguous enough as it is. If you can't read the words, that sounds infinitely harder. That's awful.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no, and again, that is stuff, and it's like I'm glad we have emulation. I'm glad I have these retro consoles that I can play. I can even hook up to the TV. So I know when like I have kids, they are definitely going to be growing. They're going to grow up like not knowing like video game technology progressed past like the PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Like they're gonna grow up like knowing like PlayStation 1. I'm gonna make sure like they don't hang out with any friends that play video games, because like it's like no, this is what video game technology is at. And then like as they get a little bit older, it's like, oh, they just came out with the PlayStation 2.
That's awesome. Do it.
But yeah, and it does look like we hit an hour. I feel like we've been talking for like 5 minutes.
Right, yeah, I was just about to say the exact same thing.
But I guess we'll end it here because I don't want to edit a video that's longer than an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, thank you so much, Retro Review, for stopping by and being here. And definitely, guys, go check out his channel. It's linked in the pinned comment. You'll love it. Subscribe. He needs to hit 1,000 by the end of the year.
Right, absolutely. I post 6 videos a week. Go check it out right now.
Yes, or if he doesn't hit 1,000 this year, I will bite my copies of Jack 1 and 3.
Don't make him do it.
I'll do it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Retro Review, for being here. And anything you want to say before we go?
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This was a blast.
Oh, it was. So, thanks, guys. Thanks for enjoying the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks. Bye. Later.